everyone. I wanted to go through the review process and the submission in a video because I think it's a bit easier to see it, particularly when you're working with modified materials and you're not actually working with something you modified directly. It can be a little tricky to really look for errors or really value the process when you've been working on something that's not your own. So I just want to do a quick walkthrough of that. I'm in the Adapting a Resource Sandbox project working on my draft resource, and I've just completed the change notes here, very informative change notes. I'm going to hit next. And as that is the last step in the resource submission process, I am going to hit the review page, right? I've completed all of the fields, I've updated the information. Now I need to make sure everything's correct. So I see my draft is complete and ready for submission. I'm going to review everything carefully before I actually submit. So the key here is to preview the resource page. We've been looking at a lot of records in this module, and now you can see what your own will look like, right? So I'm going to click View Resource Page. And right now, I just want to highlight a few things that you should check, particularly when submitting your own work, right? Ensure that your title is showing up correctly. You want to make sure that your authors, if applicable, are linking to their QUBES account, right? Make sure that their institutions and organizations are appearing correctly, and that when you click that, it goes to their QUBES account. Some people won't have a QUBES account, and that's fine. Make sure your abstract is showing up here, and that it didn't get cut off by the character limit, right? You will want to download your bundle to make sure that all of the files are in there that you think should be, right? And that will come in a zipped folder that you can open up and check to make sure all the content is there that you expect, right? This will be version 1 of your adapted resource, and the date's right here. Check to make sure this is the license that you selected or you thought you selected, right? You can double check the terms even if you want. See what the terms are of the license you chose. This is really important, right? Make sure that it has this automatic attribution back to the original. Make sure that's the resource that you think it should be. Then we'll move down to the description tab. Right? The image you chose should be appearing right here in the image gallery. I just kept the original one, so that's what we're seeing there. And then your description. You'll have a lot more content here than I have in this example, but you want to make sure it's all formatted correctly, that any images or videos you embedded are looking right. I have an example of a link because I think it's important that you consider whether you want that link to open in a new tab or not, right? I have this one opening in a new tab so I can get back to the resource record. But that's really up to you and depends on where the link is going. If it's another QUBES site, it's probably best to keep it in the same window, but if you're sending someone off to another resource or website, you might want to open it in a new tab. Okay, then we check the contents list, right? Another double check with what you downloaded. If you have links in here, make sure they're working, check them out. The citation is automatically generated. If you'd like to change the way your name appears, you need to change that in your QUBES profile. We have knowledge-based articles on how to do that. Go down here and see if your tags look right. It's okay that some of these are grayed out. Those are categorical tags, right? So no one searches based on audience level. It's just an admin tag that's appearing. So that's okay, that's normal. If you want, you can click these and search by those tags and get results with other resources and components that are tagged that way. And then the notes, the change notes, make sure that your change notes are appearing down here as we've talked about how critical they are in communicating exactly what you did. Those are the main things to check for as it's not live. You won't have version information. I'm assuming this is your first version as you've adapted it. You shouldn't have supporting docs outside your image. Your usage tab won't populate yet until it's published and people are looking at your resource. And you probably don't have adaptations yet because it's not published. So once you take a look at all that, you can be sure that you are ready to publish your resource. So let's head back to that submission page. Okay, we've previewed it. This is just, again, another double check about the bundle. That's really key, and it's really emphasized because you can make minor edits to your title, abstract, and description, but once you publish, you cannot edit the content, right? That's really the core of what the resource is. So you cannot make edits to that after you publish, right? So it's really key that you're comfortable with everything in there. That license and README are generated automatically, so you don't need to worry about those. You'll get a DOI once we hit publish. The submission settings, if you'd like to wait, if you don't want this to be live for another couple of days or a week, that's fine. You can select a date. I typically suggest just going with today with immediate. QUBES resources are automatically approved, so you can leave a comment to an administrator, but they won't see it because they do not have to approve your resource. Once you hit submit, it will go through. And then you need to agree that you and all authors have read and agree to the QUBES terms of use, particularly the submitting content section. Now in this module, you will not actually hit submit. It's enough to have generated this draft. But in doing your own material, it is important that you read the terms of use, particularly submitting content, as well as any authors that you've added, right? They need to agree to this as well. That's very important. So you can go through and review those, and then you'll hit submit. And when you do that, your resource will be live. You can share the link, the DOI, it will begin collecting metrics, and you'll be complete. All right.